members. Carol Beaumont.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair. Mr Chair, I just want to continue on a couple of points in relation to the Financial Markets Authority as outlined in Part 2 of this bill, and talk particularly about their ability to monitor and conduct inquiries and investigations into any matter relating to financial markets or the activity of financial market participants. And secondly, the provision to keep under review the law and practices relating to financial markets, financial market participants and other persons engaged in conduct relating to those markets. And I think that these are two very useful responsibilities or functions of the Financial Markets Authority. And I think that one of the issues that is worthy of some consideration is the type of inquiries and investigations that we might need in relation to our financial markets. And financial markets covers quite a range of different operations, from the second tier or fringe end right through to very big investment companies and the like. And I think understanding how those companies operate, how people choose to use different types of lenders, for example, is very useful for us to know. In the course of looking at the issue of fringe lenders or loan sharks, it became very apparent to me that there were people who were using so-called finance companies where they were lending at excessive interest rates and lending irresponsibly, even though the person could have got access to credit elsewhere. Now, that seemed to me to be a very strange situation, and understanding that type of behaviour seemed to me to be very important. Now, it may well go to the matter I raised earlier of financial literacy, or it may well go to other matters like the way that particular communities are targeted by some sorts of finance companies and so on. So I think the type of inquiries that the Financial Markets Authority could conduct under Clause 9 is something for us to think about. Likewise, in keeping under review the law and practices as outlined in Clause 9, I also think that that provides an opportunity for us to look at our financial markets in terms of how we can ensure that they are functioning in a way as per the objective, really, which is to have fair, efficient and transparent financial markets as outlined in Clause 8 in Part 2. One of the ways, I think, in terms of keeping under review the law and practices is also for the Financial Markets Authority to ensure that they are looking at best practice internationally and ensuring that we understand where similar problems are being addressed in other jurisdictions. Let's make sure that we use the laws in those jurisdictions as well to review and look at, because I think that there have been a number of countries, for example, dealing with the question of excessive interest rates and how that they might be managed, and trying to work out whether capping interest rates is the best way to go or whether other provisions are better. And I think using that information and keeping under review law in other jurisdictions is particularly relevant to us and useful for us as a country. Now, I'd also like to again come to the amendment being promoted by Leanne Dalzell, the Honourable Leanne Dalzell, which is a new Clause 9A in this part. And what she's attempting to do with this is to look at principles to bind all financial market participants. And I think that that is a really good idea for us to agree as a House on the kind of principles that we think should underlie every financial market transaction, and all of the participants should sign up to. Makes a great deal of sense. And some of the provisions she's outlined there, a firm must conduct its business with integrity. Well, a lot of the places that have caused a great deal of harm in New Zealand, and I don't just mean here at the fringe, some of the investment companies that have meant that many small investors have lost their life savings, we're not acting with integrity. So to ensure that we have that as a bottom line requirement, skill, care and diligence is another one. But two, I thought it was worth picking up on as Labour's Consumer Affairs spokesperson was the two provisions she's put in there in relation to principles relating to customers' interests and principles relating to communication with customers. And I think these are very sensible suggestions she's making in that provision.
Members, we come to the vote on Part 2. We have an amendment in the name of the Honourable Leanne Dalzell to insert new clause 9A. The question is that the amendment be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. Contrary will say no. The noes have it. Party vote. We'll ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
58 votes opposed.
New Zealand Labour.
42 in favour.
Green Party.
9 in favour.
Action New Zealand.
5 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
4 votes opposed.
Progressive.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 vote opposed.
Honourable Chris Carter. Hone Harawira.
1 in favour.
Members, the ayes are 54, the noes are 68. The amendment is not agreed to. The question is that Part 2 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. Contrary will say no. The ayes have it. We now move to Part 3, debate on clauses 25 to 61 and Schedule 2.